Hi, everyone, and welcome to Everyday English. I'm Peter.
And I'm Sophia. We're so glad you're here with us today for our English podcast.
This podcast is all about learning real English, the kind of English people actually use every day.
Exactly. In each episode, we'll help you understand new vocabulary, expressions, phrasal verbs, and more, all through real, everyday situations.
Today, we're starting with our first group of 3 essential words you'll hear often in daily conversations or at work: reliable, schedule, and budget.
Let's begin with reliable. If someone or something is reliable, it means you can trust them to do what they promise or expect.
For example, if your friend always arrives on time and keeps their word, you might say, she's a reliable person.
Or if your internet connection works without problems, you might say, this is a reliable Wi-Fi service.
Pronunciation tip, it's pronounced reliable. The stress is on the second syllable, reliable.
A little curiosity. Reliable comes from the word rely, meaning to depend on. So, a reliable person is someone you can depend on.
Next up is schedule. This is a very common word, and it refers to a plan or list of events and times.
You can have a work schedule, a class schedule, or even a travel schedule.
For example, my schedule is full today, or let's schedule a meeting for Monday.
Pronunciation tip. In American English, it's pronounced schedule, schedule. But in British English, it's often pronounced schedule, schedule.
Both are correct, just depends on where you are in the world.
And our third word for today is budget. A budget is a plan for how to spend money.
You might say, we need to stick to our monthly budget, or the project went over budget.
Pronunciation, budget, budget. It sounds like budget, short and punchy.
Fun fact, the word budget comes from the Latin word bulga, meaning leather bag, where people used to keep their money.
So now that we've explored reliable, schedule, and budget,
let's listen to a natural conversation where these words are used in context.
Hey, have you talked to the supplier yet? We need someone reliable this time.
Yes, I called them this morning. They have great reviews and always deliver on time.
Perfect. The last one messed up our schedule completely.
I remember. That's why I created a detailed schedule this time, with deadlines for every step.
Smart move. Speaking of which, have you checked if we're still within the budget?
I did. We're actually a bit under budget right now, which is great.
That gives us some flexibility. Maybe we can add those welcome kits for the guests.
Good idea. Just make sure we don't go over budget with those extras.
Definitely. I'll get quotes first. We need to stay on track.
And we should confirm everything by Friday so there's no last-minute stress.
Agreed. I'll send out the updated schedule by this afternoon.
Awesome. I really feel like we're working with a reliable team this time.
Okay, let's break this down. One of the colleagues said they need someone reliable. That word means someone you can trust to do what they promise. In this case, she's talking about trusting the supplier.
right. And the other colleague responded by saying the supplier has great reviews and always delivers on time, which shows he's reliable.
Then schedule came up when one of them talked about how the last supplier messed up their timeline. A schedule is just a plan for when things should happen.
Exactly. And the colleague said she created a detailed schedule with deadlines. That's a typical way this word is used, especially in meetings and planning.
Later in the conversation, one of them asked about the budget. That's the total amount of money planned for the project.
And the other replied that they were under budget, meaning they spent less than expected. That's a great place to be in any project.
Then she suggested using the extra money for welcome kits, but her colleague reminded her to not go over budget. You see how budget can go both ways: under budget, over budget, or within budget.
Yes, and when one of them said we should stay on track, it was connected to the schedule, meaning they're trying to stick to the plan.
And I noticed she said she'd send the updated schedule. That's super common in daily work communication.
At the end, one of them said they're working with a reliable team. That's another natural way to use reliable, talking about people who consistently do good work.
Hey, Sophia, ready for another round of useful everyday English?
Absolutely, Peter. Today's phrasal verbs are super common. You'll hear them every single day.
That's right. First up, we've got wake up. Now, this one means when you stop sleeping. Simple as that.
Exactly. For example, I usually wake up at 6 a.m. It's when your eyes open, but you might still be lying in bed.
That leads us to the second phrasal verb, get up. So once you wake up, eventually you get up. That's when you actually leave the bed.
Right. So you might wake up at 6 but get up at 6:30. Happens to me all the time.
Same here. Now, the third one is turn on. You use it when you activate a device, like a light, your phone, or even the TV.
Can you turn on the light? Or I always turn on some music while I get ready. It's super useful at home and at work.
A fun fact, turn on can also mean to start something emotional, like that speech really turned on the crowd. But today we're sticking to the tech side.
Great catch, Peter. So remember, wake up, you open your eyes. Get up, you leave the bed. And turn on, you start something, usually electronic.
Let's see these in action in a real-life morning routine conversation.
Jake, what time do you usually wake up during the week?
Honestly, Emily, I wake up around 6:30, but I don't get up until 7. I just lie there scrolling through my phone.
I get that. I wake up at 6 too, but I try to get up right away or I'll fall back asleep.
Same here on weekends. If I don't get up quickly, I'll sleep till noon. First thing I do is turn on the coffee machine.
Oh, coffee is a must. I turn on some music while I get ready. It really helps me wake up fully.
That's smart. I usually turn on the news while I eat breakfast, just to stay updated.
I've done that too, but sometimes the news is too stressful first thing in the morning.
True. Maybe I should turn on a podcast instead, something light, like this one.
Great idea. And hey, getting up early means we can actually enjoy the morning, right?
Exactly. Waking up early doesn't have to be painful. With the right habits, it can be the best part of the day.
All right, that was a super natural and relatable conversation, wasn't it, Sophia?
Absolutely, Peter. I think everyone listening has been in that exact situation, waking up but not wanting to get up.
Right, and that brings us to our first phrasal verb, wake up.
Yes, wake up means to stop sleeping. Simple, right? Like, I wake up at 6 a.m. every day.
Exactly, but notice wake up refers to the moment your brain starts working, not necessarily when you leave the bed.
That's where get up comes in. You wake up first, then you get up, meaning you physically leave the bed.
Perfect explanation, Sophia. For example, I woke up at 6, but I didn't get up until 7.
And this is super common in spoken English. Native speakers always separate these two actions.
Another tip, wake up can also be used in a figurative way, like wake up, you're not seeing the truth.
Oh, good point, Peter. It's like telling someone to become aware or pay attention.
Exactly. Now, about pronunciation, wake up is often pronounced quickly, wake up, almost like one word.
Same with get up. In real conversations, you'll hear get up. The T sound gets soft.
That's true. Listening and mimicking native pronunciation helps a lot.
Now, let's talk about turn on. What does that mean, Peter?
Turn on means to activate or switch something on, like lights, a machine, or even your phone.
Yes, for example, I turn on the lights when I enter the room.
Or don't forget to turn on the oven before you bake the cake.
Great examples. But did you know turn on can also have informal or slang meanings?
Oh, yes. In informal English, it can mean something or someone excites you. But be careful, it can be quite personal.
Absolutely. So for learners, it's best to stick to the safe, everyday uses unless you're confident with context.
I agree. Also, turn on often gets used with technology. Turn on the Wi-Fi, turn on the TV, and so on.
Yes, especially in today's world. Almost everything starts with turning something on.
And its opposite is turn off, of course. Super useful as a pair.
Let's give some example sentences using all three phrasal verbs we covered.
Sure. I wake up at 6, get up at 6:30, and turn on the lights immediately.
Nice. How about After I get up, I turn on the coffee machine and check my messages.
Perfect. Or sometimes I wake up before my alarm, but I stay in bed until it's time to get up.
And here's one. I can't get ready unless I turn on some music. It helps me wake up.
Love that one. And that shows how these expressions fit naturally into everyday routines.
Right. And if our listeners start using them in daily life, they'll sound way more natural in English.
Exactly. These are the kind of expressions that make your English feel fluent and effortless.
And it's all about practice. Try describing your morning using these phrasal verbs.
Yes, say it out loud. I wake up at, I get up at, I turn on.
You can even record yourself and listen back. That's a great technique to improve pronunciation.
Oh, I love that idea, Sophia. And here's another tip. Label your actions at home.
Like putting a sticky note on your lamp that says, "Turn on the lamp."
Exactly. It reinforces the language visually and physically.
So fun and practical. And remember, small steps every day make a big difference.
Totally agree. We want our listeners to feel confident, not perfect. Just keep using what you learn.
And don't forget to come back for more, because we've got lots more phrasal verbs coming your way.
That's right. Keep practicing and let English become a natural part of your everyday routine.
Thanks for being with us, everyone.
See you in the next episode.